What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Better Days Films. It's your boy Z, and I'm back with another movie review. Now, this movie review may seem a little randish because there was some things that I liked about it, but the story was terrible. I hate the story. And the movie I'm talking about is Jurassic World Dominion, which came out this past June. Now, I've been a fan of the Jurassic Park movies for a while. Like, even though the first one came out when I was real young, when I finally did see it, I loved it. Loved Lost World, and even though it gets a lot of crap, I still enjoy Jurassic Park 3. I still go back and watch those three movies, a lot. And when the first Jurassic World came out, I thought what they was trying to do was different. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. Fallen Kingdom was, but now we got Jurassic World Dominion, and I say there's stuff in it I like, I love, but the story is terrible. Like, in my opinion, like the dinosaurs kind of take a back seat to what's going on in the story. Now, there's going to be some spoilers in here. I'm probably not going to go plot by plot. The movie's been out for a few months. But I just wanted to come on here and give my thoughts, my review on it. May come out as the smallest rant. We shall see. But in this movie, it's about locusts that's killing off crops and stuff, but they're not eating the biosyn seed, the biosyn seed crops and stuff. Well, biosyn is ran by Dotson, remember the guy from the very first Jurassic Park who wanted Dennis to steal those dinosaur samples and bring it back to them? Well, he's back in this film, and he's the head of biosyn. Dotson, we got Dotson here. Yeah, I still like that part. But I was really excited for this movie to come out. I wanted to see what they was going to do with it after Fallen Kingdom. Me and my brother, he's like my brother, we went to see, they did a double feature. They showed the very first Jurassic Park, gave us a small break, and then showed the new Jurassic World right after. We had a good time. It was a very good time. But I think I saw this movie twice and in theaters, and I just watched it last night with my mom, and the more and more I think about the story, the more and more I get mad. This is a horrible story. And the girl from the previous film, Macy, I think her name was Macy, and she's pretty much Owen and Claire are looking after her. Like, I understand she's a teenager. They're kind of keep her safe for people that may be looking for her. But, they live in some town in some log cabin, and she has to cross a bridge to get into town. Well, she keeps going into town. They keep telling her, like, stop going into town. Like, we don't trust people. There's people out there looking for you. But she's like, no, you don't trust me. Okay. No matter what, you could be as most careful as you want going into town. But if somebody sees you, then, and I'm sorry about that in the background. We got dogs here. If you come into town and somebody was to see you, then it'd be over. No matter how careful you be. You could go into a store, you could talk to somebody you think that works there, they could recognize you, and then let the bad guys know where you are. So, like, that part with her was kind of cringy. Like, I understand she's a teenager, she wants freedom and stuff, but at the same time, there's people looking for you. Claire and Owen are trying to keep you safe, and you're pretty much being a dick to them about it. Like, even goes so far telling Claire, you can't keep me here. You're not my mother. Like, what the fuck? Well, and I'm glad to see, you know, characters from Jurassic Park like Malcolm, Grant, and Ellie. So glad to see them all back in this film. But they wasn't enough to save the story. Story pretty much about, like I said, the Lucases they were made by Biosyn. They owned it. They're big. They're monstrous. They killing off crops that's not, you know, Biosyn seed and stuff. And, you know, Ellie and Grant goes to Biosyn to find out what's going on. And then you also find out that in this, that Blue, the raptor from the previous films, self-pregnated herself and she gave birth. So she has a baby raptor. Thought that was cool, like far as Blue having a baby, but they were barely used for this film. Like, they end up finding out where Blue's baby is, where Blue and her baby is. They find out where Macy and is being at with Owen and Claire. So they kidnap the baby. They kidnap Blue's baby. They kidnap Macy. So, and you find out that it's Biosyn that wants them. So they get to Biosyn, and they pretty much start finding out everything that's going on. You know, that Biosyn is responsible for what's going on with everything with the locusts killing off the crops. And like I said, this story, especially with Macy, they took her story in a whole different direction for this one. Now she's not made. She wasn't cloned. She wasn't a clone. She actually, her mother actually made her. And that's something else I didn't care about. There's a lot of good stuff in here as far as, like, you know, stuff with dinosaurs, you know, but the dinosaurs are not the main focus of this film. It's more of the locust that's the main focus of this movie. Well, Ellie and Grant get the Biosyn. They find out from that Malcolm wanted them there because he found out Biosyn is responsible for it. So he gives them his access code for them to go peeking around to gather evidence so they could take Biosyn down. And Owen and Claire, of course, is going to go after the people that kidnapped Blue's baby and Macy. That's it. Story, not good. And the worst part about it is, like, Macy is, like, she finally, you know, as she's about to get rescued, she finally comes out and she spends the whole film not listening to them, telling Claire, you're not my mother. But then, you know, when they finally do eventually in the film run into each other, and she's like, who is that? She's like, it's my parents. Okay. We heard her say, those are her recognize them as her parents. But she doesn't let them know at all. She doesn't say sorry for everything she says. She has to go to Claire and say, I'm sorry that I said that you're not my mother. They didn't have no talks at the end. Nothing like that. Like me, I like the little things. And the audience, we heard her recognize them as her parents. But she didn't talk to them and say, call them mom or dad. Didn't say, I'm sorry for the way I was acting. Nothing like that. That's the one thing that was one thing that pissed me off. Like I said, Blue and her baby is barely in this movie. Like, eventually, she lets out Blue's baby and she runs too. And once Blue's baby escapes, she's not seen again until more to the end of the movie. So there's a whole bunch of dinosaur chases in here that I thought was cool. I liked. There was a lot of action and stuff in there that I liked, but the story is what dragged me out. Like, I don't care about the whole Biosyn situation, like, at all. Don't care about the locust. It's not something that made me go, oh shit, like, no, nothing. Didn't care about none of that. Like I said, it was cool seeing Malcolm, Grant, and Ellie back for this one, but, it didn't help the story at all. A bunch of dinosaur fights in here, that were cool, but, not enough to save the story, in my opinion. And then even when we get towards the end of the movie, you're like, what? This is the last one? This is how you're ending it? This did not feel like no good send-off. This was not a good ending. This was not a good ending to your trilogy. Like, what the fuck? They just finally escape Biosyn. Everybody gets on the plane to go back home. Blue is reunited with her baby, and then you just hear a reporter talking, and eventually, which was also a part of the movie, is you find out that Ellie is pretty much divorced. Her kids are in college, and you can see that her and Grant want to be with each other. Want to be with each other, but they're trying to play it off, well, we're just friends. But eventually, at the end, they do end up getting together. Like, that was cool. Everybody I seen, my reaction was like, oh, yeah, finally. But this was not a good way to end your trilogy. Like, it did not feel like an ending, the final movie to me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of spinoff or something. They claim that this is going to be the last one, but I highly doubt it. Unless we got a reboot coming, because everything has to be rebooted. But this did not feel like no ending. Like, the story, everything did not come all together. Like, in the reports, they said it was all going to come circle. Like, oh, well, because you included everything, stuff from Jurassic, the first Jurassic Park, and then you bring that as full circle. But no, the ending was lame. It did not seem like a good way to end your movie. And of course, what do I know? I don't make movies or anything like that, but I know that nobody liked your ending. Nobody. Like I said, I watched it with my mom on Peacock. The critic score was 29. The audience score was 77%. Like, the story just completely destroyed this. And then giving the dinosaurs kind of a backseat. And they didn't focus on, she lets out the dinosaurs, and let them run free. She's like, I have to. In the last one, in Fallen Kingdom, she's like, I have to because they're just like me. we really like we get bits and pieces of how the dinosaurs are existing in the in the world, but being amongst men and women, but only a small dose of it. Like, we really don't get to see that. We really don't at all. It's all in bits and pieces. Which is another thing that pissed me off. Like, is this a movie that I could watch all the time? Probably not. Is it a movie that I could just turn on when I'm bored? Because, there's some action stuff in there that I like. Yeah, I can do that. But this was a major letdown for it being the final Jurassic World movie. A big letdown. And like I said, there's nothing against the actors, the actresses, nothing against them, but this movie was just terrible. And like I said, this is just my opinion. I know there's people out there that enjoy this movie. Everybody has their, opinion of what they like and what they don't like. So, you like this movie, that's cool. Me, didn't. I'll probably go back and watch the trilogy of Jurassic Park more than I would ever watch this. I'll probably watch the first two Jurassic World movies, but barely go back to this one. So yeah, this is my review of Jurassic World Dominion. It has some great action scenes, but not a good story. Like, I don't care that eventually that they, they found a way to stop the locusts, like by B.D. Wong's character found a way of how Macy's mom, made her a way to change the locust, one of the locust DNA, so it changes the other ones, and then they go off. Like, didn't care about that. Didn't care about that at all. So if I was to rate this movie, I would give it a 5 out of 10. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because I like the action, but the story did not like. And one final thing, the whole hand thing that Owen was doing, and all the whole hand movement he was doing with Blue and them in the first Jurassic World, that is overplayed in this movie like crazy. Like, he's doing it to dinosaurs that he just came in contact with. Like, he's like, and then what makes it even worse is then they have when they need to go get Blue's baby, because Owen promised Blue that he would bring her home. Like, they're trying to capture her. Basically, they're like, "Hey, eyes on me." Like, what? Like, she lucky that Blue's baby just didn't jump up and just bite her hand off, because think about it, is Blue, all of them, they got trained by Owen. So they know that hand movement. That hand movement thing was just overused in this movie. And then when they did it, it was just cringy to me. But yeah, so if anybody if you did like Jurassic World Dominion, you can let me know in the comments. If you didn't like it, you can let me know in the comments. I'll have more reviews coming soon. I'm probably finally going to get around to watching Thor: Love and Thunder to give an epic rant on that, because that was another Marvel movie that was just terrible for this year. So please like and subscribe to the channel. I have a whole lot of content on the way, and like I keep saying, we just getting started. Peace.